Hi, I'm Amanda Call, and today I'm going to try my hand at the Coloring Book Challenge. This is where a professional artist takes a children's coloring book page and renders it to the best of their ability. First, I need some coloring books. For a number of reasons, I didn't want to go with any branded characters, so I grabbed some generic coloring books my kids had lying around. I tried to find a page I liked, but I'm not really feeling the cartooning style of these books. Wait, is that a dog? What is going on here? Okay, so that book is a bust. Moving on, and it looks like this book is more the same. Look at this poor ostrich and snake. They look terrified to be here. This book isn't going to work either. But then, a Dover coloring book. This one is Manatees by Jan Sovak. I think my aunt who lives in Florida must have bought it for my kids. Dover coloring books have been around since I was a kid. I had the dinosaurs and tropical fish ones. I always loved how detailed and accurate they were, a real treat for kids who enjoyed both science and art. They've since rebranded some of their content as adult coloring books, but they're still the same books they originally marketed for kids. Okay, I like this one. I think I can do something with this. I'm going to go ahead and cut this page out. The Dover coloring books have better paper quality than your average coloring book, but it's still not going to stand up to what I'm going to do, so we'll have to transfer this image over to a mixed media paper. Now I could scan the image in and print it out, but remember who you're dealing with here. That's right, I'm doing it old school with a light box. So I'm going to center my coloring page onto the back of the mixed media paper and tape them together with drafting tape. Not regular masking tape. Drafting tape has a lower tack and won't rip the paper apart when you go to remove it. So now we flip on the light box and, oh, I see the flaw in my plan now. The image on the other side of the coloring page is also showing through. No matter, I will press on and trace this image and just, try not to get confused, I guess? Mostly that worked, but in a few spots in the background I was getting a little muddled, so I pulled the papers apart to peek at the coloring page, and blocked the light with my hand so I could figure out which set of wiggly lines to follow. Once the lines were all traced, I pulled up a reference image of a manatee underwater, so I had an idea of the colors I wanted to use. I'm using my usual mixed media color technique here, so the first step is to lay down some large areas of light watercolors as a base. The next step is the Inktense water-soluble ink pencils. Sorry, I forgot to turn one of my lights back on for this part, so it's a little dark and strange looking. I built up layers of color, keeping in mind how they will change and blend together later. Sorry, my big old head gets in the way here a bit. After I get the colors down on the body of the manatee, I start activating them with water. You can see how much the colors change when the water hits them. They become super vibrant and end up looking more like paint than colored pencils. When the body of the manatee is done, I move on to the algae on its back. The original coloring page had a caption that read, "When a manatee has spent a long period of time in fresh water, algae often begins to grow on its back. Although it might seem uncomfortable, the manatee doesn't mind the algae covering its body. It acts like sunscreen." I love the idea of a creature so gentle and easygoing that plants grow on it. As I finish this section, it really feels like something's missing, but I'm not sure what. I'll loop back around to it later. For now, I'm moving on to the background. I don't want to add too much to it, but it needs some more depth and detail. Same as before, I get the ink pencils down and then activated them with water. I decided I wanted some of the water a darker, more intense blue as well. The tricky thing with ink pencils is that when you activate them, you really have to keep a wet edge to prevent getting harsh lap lines. This squiggly bit in the background really helped to break up the space and make it easier to work one little section at a time. Next, I pull out some details and add a bit of texture with colored pencils. I also use them for pushing shadows and increasing depth, which it turns out is what the algae needed. Looks much better now. The final step is adding back in some bright white with gouache. Gouache is an opaque water-based paint that dries nice and flat and color true. I'm mixing it a little thinner here so it comes out more translucent. I added in some whiskers, highlights, and decided to make that background squiggle a line of bubbles. And now it is done. This coloring page went from this to this. Let me know if you try out your own coloring book challenge in the comments. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye!